All right, Jeremy here, Jeeps Unlimited, 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. Gonna wrap up on a couple of videos before the end of the week. Get back with a couple people that were interested in some YJ tubs. I was hoping to have our dismantler work a little faster this week, but we got them caught up in some other things, so not really their fault either. But with that said, I just wanted to give you, well, we even do this a lot, actually. It's pretty common, especially in our busy time of year, which is right now. We do something called pre-dismantle. So, and essentially, I've said this a lot. If you followed our videos, you'll hear me repeat myself, so I apologize if so. I'm just regurgitating. But pre-dismantle just means that, you know, it's exactly what it sounds like. It is literally in dismantle state, sometimes further along. This one's okay. And then other times, you know, like just came in. You save a little bit by locking in a pre-dismantle, and really it's on your part, not a risk. It allows us to cash flow things, and even though sometimes it doesn't work out that way for us, meaning that, you know, if I describe this tub, which I will do here in a second, and it doesn't come back in the shape that I'm thinking it's going to be, and I've been doing it a long time, so I know where to look. Gives you a little bit of easement there. But if it comes back and I miss something, you know, something I couldn't see, and I'll usually point those areas out. This is an area that's can be problematic, or, you know, we don't know here, so we'll usually guesstimate down on that kind of stuff, so it's kind of built into the price. And then on top of that, you save a couple $100 just for kind of taking a leap there. So if it comes back that it's like, hey, I didn't see this, and it's not good, right? We have a couple options at that point. The first option is it's not what you wanted, you don't want to do anything else, and we just refund it. It's a low deposit, it's usually $150, and it just puts kind of money in our mouth, and essentially that allows us, like, tell Kevin, hey, I have somebody that's interested in this tub, so I'm going to go ahead and pay you to strip it down. We pay these guys as the dismantle, and then if it doesn't work out, then I eat it, you get your money back, everything's hunky-dory. Normally, it works out, because like I said, we do a pretty good job of describing these things. And then you still get a full video just like this, except for it completely stripped down, hot seed, wash, you know, what have you. We don't clean anything up, doctor anything up like that. We just clean it up with the washer, and it's in a bare form, bare tub, and that gets sent off to you. It's usually about 15 minutes, and you give me the thumbs up or the thumbs down, okay? And if it's something like, hey, I didn't see this part, we didn't go over that, I'm still interested in it, but can we do something? And usually, yeah, absolutely. So, all right, so that's kind of how we do pre-dismantle stuff. Sometimes I don't have to. Sometimes we have a couple dismantlers on staff. I have them run through a whole bunch of stuff. That happened with our TJs recently. We did that, and we sold out of almost all of them. We got a couple left. YJs tend to sell as we get them in and as we're pulling them apart. So oftentimes you don't see YJ tubs listed on our website. CJ7 tubs are the same way, 5 tubs. TJs are beginning to get like that. And like I said, it just means that they just sell fast enough that, you know, people go like, well, I never see one on your website. Well, it's because they usually sell before we have a chance. They sell in this state a lot. So, all right, so keep that in mind. And I'll go through these, and again, I'll give you probably 5-10 minutes on each of them and show you it entirely. I'm going to point out damage, because that's obviously going to be the big deal, right? Damage, if they're rusty, which, you know, we try to pride ourselves on rust-free. Sometimes on CJs, you're going to find that. YJs, I really try to avoid. Anything that's got, you know, been wrecked, rolled over, stuff like that, I really try to avoid altogether. You're not going to see any of those, at least in this video. Like that. So you can assure it's going to be a nice straight tub. If there's any damage, you'll see it here in the video. And if there's any rust, bleed through, surface, scaling, oxidation, I'll point that out, okay? And then like this, for example, you got the runner board here. That, you know, there's always a chance, especially in this area here, that you can get bleed through, sometimes surface or even scaling, oxidation. So you can't really see this here. It's kind of, this is one of those spots, right? We can go back behind it a little bit, but you still see this one looks good, and I'll tell you why. That seam right there, usually if they're blown out at all, you can see it there. But the other way you can tell on these, and this is when you're buying something, because you can't obviously pull somebody's flare off. If you look back here, this one, of course, it's got carpet in it. Normally they don't have carpet. Carpet's a good sign, though. It means it had a hard top on it, more than likely. Yeah, so this is impossible to do without tearing this. Typically, this is open, and there's a big channel here. And the bottom of these channels is where, let's see if I can get it up at all for you. Yeah, that one's beautiful. So typically right there will be an area that you'll start seeing rust bleeding through on them. Not a lot, but not common, especially in ours, but it is something that you should look there, okay? The other area is where these feet of these roll bars come to the floor. Okay, now there's a liner in this, and you won't be able to see when you're buying a Jeep with this liner in it what that area looks like. You can kind of look at the feet of the floor roll bar itself and see. So, and these are, you almost can't, this one's broke enough that I probably could pop it, but we actually sell these even in the shape this one's in. It's still there. These are hard as you can imagine to find. So I won't be breaking it. I'll try to salvage this one, but this is an area that I would like to see. And again, we'll come up here and just see if we can possibly see any signs that it had. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing there. So that one you should check out too. But again, this will be pulled on that final video, so you'll have that and be able to look at that. Okay, so this side, the cowling down here, looks like grime on it. Not dented. It looked like at first it might have had a little dent there, but it's just tar or something they have on it, which should come off in the washer. Okay, the flare area, the rear corner, for at least the driver's side, this is all really clean. This is another area they like to rust out in here, and it's going to be really hard to see that on a lot of Jeeps, but you'll have to look from the back. This one is beautiful. I don't think there'll be any issues there. And of course, the lower rocker, there's a driver's side door rocker, a tailgate rocker, and then you have your passenger rocker. I'll show you in a second. So from this point on, if I was grading this thing, we'd be at an A right now, right? And then as we get through it, I thought this one might have had some damage. It does, yeah, okay, so I'll show you. So there's a little damage here, so that will be accounted for and taken off. And as we come up, you get nice clean. That one's actually in good shape, so I think that one will be possible for the guy I just called. This is actually dented in right here as well. One thing I like to say when the tubs are bare, and I'll try to tell you a little bit about that now too. There's repair jobs that are easier than others. Accessibility is a big thing on these tubs. Can you get in there from the backside and pop dents out? You can both on this one and this. You can reach down there. So YJs don't do it all that often, but boxed in areas, TJs are common for it, are areas that they're like blind holes. You literally have to get into them. If you're a body guy, it's easy, or maybe not easy, but you know how to do it. And if you're not, you're real used to that kind of stuff, that can be something that you want to know. Okay, so, and then here's this guy here, and this has got a good, look like somebody jousted it right there. So the good news on this guy is the door jamb doesn't look like it's affected, or not much. It might have a little bevel there. Actually, I feel like that might be beveled out just a little bit right there. Let's go look at that other side and just see. Now that side is accessible as well, I think, but we'll take a look here. Yeah, that's definitely, no, not much. It actually kind of comes out that way. It's just kind of where the door comes down. So, but as far as like how hard it would be to work on this tub to fix this part, we look back here, and now there is a channel back here. It is your kind of roll bar reinforcement channel, and again, there's this carpet here, but you can get to the main spot that it comes in. You can hit there and should be able to pop that out, except for this here. This is going to be one of those blind channels here, and it kind of extends up. I don't want to downplay the severity of it. It's not terrible, and it's definitely workable, but it's something that's going to require some finesse. Okay, so based on this right here, because of this here, if it was just this stuff, it'd still be like a low A, but because of this drops it into a B category. So it just means there's going to be a little bit more body work involved with this tub. Okay, but still, I'm going off of rust free. It's hard to say with carpet, but again, this one did have a top. Matter of fact, the top just came off not but a week ago and sold, so it's been covered the entire time we've had it. So, okay, and get in here a little bit and see if there's any. Might have a little surface there, but that looks solid there. Okay, and then we can look up underneath it. That tub looks pretty dang good, actually. And I'll go pull the driver's side up because that obviously is more of a use area, so it tends to have a little bit more wear on the floorboards on these guys. Let's see if we can pull this guy up here. And this thing had not only carpet, but insulation and you name it. So I like that. Sometimes I don't mind finding carpet in Jeeps because that floorboard is gorgeous. It's got some dirt down in there, but that'll wash out. So this is a perfect example on a tub that is would have been a solid A plus had it not been for that. And that damage there, knocking it down to a B, knocks off almost $1,000. So if it's money concern, and I know that sounds stupid because money's always kind of a concern, and you don't mind working on stuff like that, that's the way to save money on our tubs for a real clean one like this one, because that should be the extent of it, okay? So I don't price in our videos for one big reason. Just go back and scroll on our YouTube channel. You're gonna find 20 years of videos. We've been pretty good over the last couple years, the last, I'd say 10, 15 years, and haven't raised prices, surprisingly, like everybody else has. You know, I always joke with people, we've always kind of been high expensive. No, that's not true. But it had, I mean, we were kind of first in line 20 years ago selling tubs and frames. And I'm not kidding. When I say that, we were the very, very first. That's not by happenstance. That was an absolute God's blessing. I was going through a divorce. I had a guy come into my yard from Florida. This is down in Denver. Not even Jeeps Unlimited. This is Highline 4x4, way back when. And I had stacks of frames and tubs, and I didn't know what to do with it. I'm not a tosser. I'm a hoarder, if anything. And he, you know, what are you doing with these things? He was up visiting some family. And I told him, I said, well, honestly, I don't know. He goes, you got to take him out east. You got to get him to the Midwest. You got to see, because he grew up in Ohio. And so, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I've been running for 21 years. I've been delivering Jeep parts to the Midwest and East Coast myself. Now, just recently, within the past couple years, I've had kids kind of late in life. And so now we're using hot shots to do it. But I just got back just the other day. I literally went on a 4,600 mile road trip, 9 days, went all the way up to Maryland, to Toronto. I actually went into Canada. I'll tell you about that later. But so I do still run, but this time of year is our moving and shaking. It's kind of uncommon for me to leave this time of year. I had to, like I said, I'll tell you about that another time. But anyway, so I know what you guys have to deal with out there as far as the rust goes. And our tubs are night and day difference. Our C's are usually your A's. But I still like representing what we have out here. And unfortunately right now, all we have is pretty dismantled stuff. That's what we have. So I'll show you this one. This one's got pile of parts in it. So this is not where stuff is supposed to end up, but we had a couple lazy dismantlers, and probably my fault, I'm sure, some way, shape, or form. Look at that column. That's a bummer. Tilt columns are super hard to get, but that one's blown out. I see that sitting out here. Why is that sitting here? Oh, okay, now I see. Anyway, this is a white tub, obviously. That speaks for itself. Both of these are early, too. Actually, I passed one up here. Yeah, all three of these are going to be. So YJs are the same tubs, 8795, the way they bolt, they weigh, all, yeah. Everything's identical. The only thing they changed on a tub is the way the battery tray bolts up. So the early tubs use a battery tray that kind of protrudes outwards, and the later ones use a wider tray, and they kind of, it helps. I think they did it to hug the battery closer to the firewall, probably for fitment of other stuff too, but it allows it not to leverage itself out. So, okay. And all these are going to be early. So if you're going to do a CJ7 YJ conversion, which is a very popular swap because CJ7 tubs are grossly not found. They're just hard. They're very, very hard to find. If you're going to do that conversion, any YJ tub will work. But I always usually try to get people that are doing those into the early ones, because CJs do have an intrinsic value to them, right? They have, and YJs are getting there too, but there is definitely this huge collectors. So if we can change minimal stuff on your YJ to make it a CJ, then let's go that route. You know, if we don't have that option, then I'm going to push into what I have, but I will explain that to you. So the firewall is easy to do. You can nutsert them. There's a few other ways you can do them, but it is something that I like to do. I like to do these early tubs. They're the closest thing as far as everything else goes to a CJ7. There are some differences on them. I go over that in a video. You can check that on our YouTube channel. But this will give you an idea, at least what we have. And there's two white tubs here. And these guys, again, are, you know, clean through here. Look, this one's got carpet too. What are the chances? I got two freaking carpeted. Not common to have carpeted, but again, a hard top. This hard top sold. They just haven't picked it up yet. Okay, so dinger on the back corner here. Got a couple extra holes. They probably had an accessory mounted somewhere down there, so do know that. I always like to show stuff like that. There's a dinger there. These are pretty easy. These are still, that necessarily wouldn't deter the cost all that much. You can start seeing a little, there might have to be a little filler here. It's hard to say until we get it washed, but And usually when you look up under them, especially get them on our rack, and I can see, oh yeah, it is, or no, maybe it's just starting to crack there. It is metal. Metal can crack. It doesn't happen that often, but okay. Lower rocker, there's a little shadow there, but that's all clean. Looks great. Cowl areas looks good. Okay, and again, the floors on this one, I kind of went off this tangent. I was going to tell you, the whole reason I don't price is just because of that. You know, I have had in the past, like I've had a guy yesterday called me on a YJ tub or a CJ tub, and I put up in like 2011. And I was right when I started messing with tubs and frames, and I put it up for like $1,500. It was a beautiful tub. And in all the years I've done them, I probably only 5 of those like just absolutely beautiful tubs. I don't even go out and seek them anymore, and if we do, half the time we're rebuilding them ourselves. So on that note, you know, I still get guys that call because of that one price on it, and I always feel bad. Like, no, they're not that cheap. The CJ7 tubs are really expensive, and YJ tubs are getting there because of that. But you still save some money on a YJ. So that floor looks awesome. That side panel looks great all through here. Another white one. This is a different white one than we were just looking at. That corner looks great there. This corner is a bummer. Here's a dinger on it. I was gonna say we might have a perfect tub here. There's a nice dinger on the back of that guy. That one's real pushed in, so that might need a lot more work there. I still was not necessarily degraded a whole letter grade for us because it is such an accessible, and it's so common to have corners beat up on YJs, CJs, all that. So, okay, that lower rocker looks good there. So yeah, so I'd say this one's probably an A grade tub, which is good because I didn't know if we'd actually have one of these out here right now. And I think that white one will be that too. We'll have to see when we get some of that stuff off, but there's a couple things on it, but I didn't see anything real big on that, anything in blind holes on it. This is a perfect example of one that was converted to a CJ, and you don't have to, really you can bolt it on pretty easily and not have to do anything. You can, if you don't mind having the YJ style tailgate, you can put a YJ tailgate on them or just leave that alone. Same thing with the windshield. If you don't want to mess with any of that and the customer doesn't care, or maybe it's for yourself, then you can just get a YJ style heater. And the padding for the two, I mean, you look at that padding versus a CJ, you can interchange that stuff. Okay, the thing is about a YJ, and this is something I described in that video, it defrosts through the pad. And on a CJ, it defrosts through the actual frame. So that's something you kind of keep in mind if you want to do it. If you don't want to have to mess with the defrost ducting side of it, then just go with this. If you care and you want the Jeep stuff, you know, you want it to look a little bit more CJ, then I would say, yeah, then do that. And there's a few ways to do that. And again, I'm not going to go into that because I got a great video on that. But and we've even found other tricks to do that now. So anyway, this is one of those real iffy ones because it's got diamond plate. I hate diamond plate, right? So we know first and foremost, you're going to have little holes all over it to hold that diamond plate on there. Not a huge deal to somebody, but the other thing I don't like about diamond plate, it hides, and it hides rust really well. So I would almost tell you right now, and I can see a little peeking through right there, that we're almost looking at a hole. Like this would probably not be something somebody wants to mess with. It would be priced very reasonable. This is a good example of something that I probably would pre-price very, very low. And it would be a good item if somebody was wanting to just take a flyer on it to save a lot. Because if we pull it, let's just say we hypothetically don't get anybody to bite on this guy, and we pull it, and then it gets cleaned up, and it actually turns out to be a beautiful tub. It's got a couple little things on it. Well, then we price it a normal price, right? And I never jack up around the prices. I always tell people, you lock it in at this price, right? I'm giving you this price, it's my word on it. I have had times before where we'll pull something and think it's going to be a lot worse than it is, and we pull it and go, holy moly, that thing is really nice. Well, okay, you know, and somebody, and they're happy as can be because they saved the money and they took a flyer. Like I said, there's no risk on it, but it is something I like to point out. I don't think that's this one, but it will be priced accordingly because of all the diamond plate on it and because of the potential that it is hiding stuff. There's a monster bumper on this thing that's not tied into the tub at all. But it is a gigantic. Matter of fact, I think that, yeah, it's got lock boxes on this thing. You could, I think, put a rifle in this thing if you wanted to. Okay, so this guy here, All right, and then it's got a liner on the inside, so that's something you do note, because a lot of times people don't want to mess with. If you're going to be lining it, great, it's got one on it already. So, and this would definitely be one that would save you some bucks on it, especially because I'm grading it that it's got holes under here, and it may not. You know, maybe a little bit of surface here. It doesn't always mean they're hiding something, but a lot of times, especially in old CJs, when they see diamond play, they're almost always hiding something. So, okay, and then I know this one's got some damage on it. It's been a while since I looked at it, but it's overall solid. It's got probably forklift damage there. I think we got this at another yard. So looks like they lifted it up and popped that up and popped that up. So that needs to be banged down both sides. Not boxed in or anything like that, but definitely would take some finesse doing, okay? And corners, got a dinger here. Looks actually pretty good there. Little dinger there. This one might be cleaner than I thought. Could have swore this one had something on it, but maybe not. Yeah, we might look out with another low A. And I can probably even get, that one's, be like a B plus, A minus maybe, we'll see. But you can see it kind of crinkled even up into the tunnel there. So again, you can get in there, you can even do it pretty hastily with a sledgehammer, but just remember that is something I'll price accordingly on there, okay? And the cowling looks good on this one. And that's it. That one's smoked. This one here, there's that bleed through I was kind of telling you about, okay? This is just meaning that it's coming in from the outside to the inside. This to me is called rot. I don't really beat around the bush. If we have rust here and we have rust on the other side, that's cancer, okay? So this one is automatically goes down at least a letter. If it's just here, it might just go down to B, but it's hard to say if it's just there. You know, it could be, it does have a liner on the inside that's coming off, it looks like. And the liners are in the inside of that guy. So that's not gonna be visible. I'd like to look at this one more because of that. That little there could be that. It's got a good sized dinger on the rear here. Well, it's actually not bad. Again, it's a little hard to say with that one. It might be the only spot it has on it. That side doesn't look bad at all right there. So yeah, probably do it's hard. Like I said, on that one, it's a little hard, but I would definitely lock you in at a good price on it. And then just take a flyer on it because I don't think there'll be anything else on it. But the good news is right now, we probably have enough that are in the same realm of pricing that, you know, if one doesn't work out, we'll have another one. Sometimes I don't have that option. I only have one. So, and that's about it for YJ tubs. And then CJs, I'm going to do a whole different video for the CJ5 I have because I just got a 5 in and it is freaking beautiful. Like probably the cleanest tub I've ever had on a 5. So that's going to be available here shortly. These older 5s I have out here, these are salvageable tubs. Again, night and day compared to what's in the Midwest, East Coast. But these are what I consider low-grade tubs. There's definitely some rot in these things. They're workable. And again, like this one, I mean, this isn't a bad tub, but it's got rot there. It's got some Bondo in it. So, you know, Bondo back here. There's no beating around the bush. I mean, these are rougher, but they're still solid tubs. So we will get these things down. Look at all that filler. Sometimes you don't even know if it's filler from the dealer. Sometimes these guys leveled these things out from the get-go. So, and then TJs, I'm pretty much listed fully on TJs right now. I think I got my last couple listed. I might have one or two that are sitting in the yard, but that's it. Then we'll be. What we have out here is probably what we'll have until the end of our busy season, which is June. For what sells in the next couple weeks, this is when their tubs and frames really start moving. Pretty much out of all my TJ frames, I might have one or two left out here. I do have a long arm frame. Actually, I have 2 long arm frames right now. Those are good deals. That's a good way to save money on a TJ frame, especially a nice, clean, rust-free TJ frame. I don't like buying long armed Jeeps because they cut the brackets off of them. But again, for you can save a decent, that's another $1,000 off on a TJ frame. And if you're gonna do it anyway, or don't mind putting mounts back on it, it's an easy way to save some cash. So, all right, that's 25 minutes of your life, 25 minutes of my life. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. I'll get this 5 done here in a moment. And questions, comments, anything you have on those YJs, how to do a CJ7 conversion, I'll probably point you to the video to watch first, but feel free to give me a shout. Once we have you locked in on one, or an idea of 1 or 2 you like, we'll get Kevin involved, maybe Jerry, get them stripped down, get them over the wash pad, get them washed off. And then, like I said, I'll reshoot a video. I'll send it off to you. No matter, even if it comes out totally crap, I'm still gonna send you a video so you at least see what we were looking at. And then I'll give you a next option if we have one. But I think those ones are all solid. I didn't really mess with any of the ones that were, iffy. There's definitely a YJ. It's a 95 back there. That one's a good one to think about for anybody looking to do fuel injection, like a Mopar injection. They stopped making those kits. It's a 95. It's a 6-cylinder fuel injection. It's an automatic, but you can do auto manual on that. And I have the fuel rail of the intake manifold. I have the tank. I have the ECM, the wiring harness, the inside wiring harness. So you can take that and literally bolt that into an early YJ or even a CJ and do a full fuel injection, multi-port injection, the way that Chrysler was offering them. I don't know why they stopped making them. Well, I know why they stopped making them, because Fiat bought them. I hate Fiat. That's my little rant on the whole. I love Jeep. I mean, I love Jeep. I love AMC, Chrysler.